of breath, cold sweats, nausea, or lightheadedness, or stroke symptoms, such as balance issues, vision problems, face drooping, arm or leg weakness, or speech difficulty, please call 911 immediately. Our emergency department team is taking special precautions with all patients and created designated areas for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. To learn more about how Hackensack Meridian Health is providing you the best healthcare during this pandemic, visit hackensackmeridianhealth.org/getcarenow. Sponsored by Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation and aired by the New Jersey Broadcasters Association and this station.
Morris County needs our Spanish-speaking community to fill out the 2020 census. It's safe, it's easy, and it's really important. If we are not fully counted, communities in Morris County from all nationalities, races, and ethnic groups will lose federal aid. Less money for housing and child care programs. Less for schools and student lunches. Less for senior citizens. Less for community health care. Competition for federal dollars is fierce. So if you live in Morris County, please fill out your census, online or on paper. No one will ask about citizenship, social security, bank accounts, or personal info. Help Morris County count in 2020. Do it now. Visit NJ Census 2020. This message sponsored by the County of Morris, the New Jersey Department of State Complete Count Commission, and aired in cooperation with the New Jersey Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're listening to WBWD 540 AM, Islip, New York, a part of Universal Stations, LLC. The views, opinions, and statements expressed in the following program reflect the views of program contributors and do not necessarily reflect the views of WBWD Radio, its management, or its sponsors. For questions and comments, please send us an email at contact@bali540am.com or visit us at bali540am.com.
Sportstalkny with your hosts, Mark Rosenman and AJ Carter. Sportstalk New York is sponsored in part by Prince Associates for all your insurance needs. The Phoenix Tube Company, the law firm of Declator Cohen and DeFrisco, Solomon Jewelers, and General Needs Charity, serving our homeless veterans with dignity. And now, here are your hosts, Mark and AJ.
And good Sunday evening to you. No, not Mark and AJ. Mark, Ryan, Sherman, and Mike Capice with you this Sunday evening. AJ still sitting home in the bunker in Comac, still worried about, he's in that, his next step is a nursing home, so, he's at the high risk. So, he's just staying there. And if he's listening, AJ, we love you. We miss you. Hopefully you'll be back here soon. Great show on tap for you tonight. Louis Tiant is going to be joining us in a little while, as well as Endy Chavez. So if you are watching us on Facebook Live, make sure you throw those comments in. We'd be happy to ask questions of our guests if we see them. So it's interactive, so be sure to throw that in there as well. It's time now for the Capco Major League Baseball report with summer camp underway. It means the warm weather is here, and it's a great time to keep those windows and doors open. Let the fresh air in, keep the bugs out with a Clearview retractable screen. The Clearview retractable screen system comes standard with a lifetime warranty and the patented speed reducer so it will not snap back. You get the luxury of a screen door and a sleek low-profile design without the hassle of a bulky storm door or sliding screen door. Call 631-440-1100 for free estimates and purchase a unit and mention Sports Talk New York and get it with free installation. That's 631-440-1100 or visit clearviewlongisland.com. And we'll bring in our baseball beat reporter, John Coppinger, heard here each and every week. How you doing, Johnny?
Has AJ become Maris from Cheers?
No, he's also that. What's the other show from Home Improvement?
Home Improvement, yeah. He peeks over the wooden fence,
right? And he's also Colton the doorman. That's basically we've boiled AJ down completely.
What was the Brendan Fraser one? Blast from the Past, where they're in the Bunker family. You know that one? No? All right, we can move on.
Oh, it doesn't ring a bell.
No? All
right, so a couple of things. Obviously, on a local level, the Yankees have one of their ace reliever in the bullpen. Comes down with COVID. How serious, we mentioned this, how serious is any injury in this shortened season and, where we don't really know how rehab is going to go? So let's say he's got to self-isolate for 7 days. All right, that's going to leave him basically less than a week to get back ready. is that going to be enough time for a pitcher? And if not, how do they get themselves game ready?
It's a great question. I think a lot of it depends on how Chapman has been keeping himself in shape up until this point. If Chapman has been keeping himself in shape, if he was on a good throwing program, I mean, heck, we saw the pictures of him when he was all jacked up over the back in spring or back in April or May. We saw those pictures of him. So if he's in relatively good shape, he could probably come back really quick and not miss a beat. I mean, remember, for normal injuries, it takes some time to get back into it anyway. So it might be nothing, or it might be something depending on how the virus affects him. Is it going to affect him like it affects a lot of young guys, where he has just mild symptoms and then he's okay after a while, or is it going to affect him like Freddie Freeman, or is it going to affect him worse? There's a lot of X factors when it comes to this. So, but I think that as long as he's been keeping himself in shape beforehand and the symptoms are mild, it's possible that he could come back relatively quickly. But disclaimer on all of this, I'm not a doctor.
Nor do you play one on television.
Nor do I play one. I could play one on television, but...
Now, the other interesting thing is you have teams with varying degrees of handling this. You have the Mets who, if guys are not in camp 4 or 5 days, whether it be Robinson Cano or Brad Rock, just the storyline, we don't expect everyone here every day, and not giving any positive or negative comments, whether it's COVID or just a family issue. And then you have the others where, players that tested positive, they're not there at camp, and the team is forth, up front and tells the media and gives that information to the media. Are you surprised that there's not a standard protocol through the Major League Baseball Players Association that it shouldn't be given, the information should not be given out unless the player agrees, or just not even given out?
Well, I'm not surprised at any of this because it's all new territory for everybody. I mean, look, you've got the HIPAA laws that prohibit employers from disclosing personal illness information or personal medical history. I mean, this isn't like strained ligaments. This is a virus, so it doesn't surprise me. I think it puts teams in a weird position, and some teams have privately said, look, they're frustrated by these protocols that they have to go through or not go through in terms of announcing COVID patients, not announcing COVID patients. And the thing to remember with all of this too is that, okay, let's use Cano and Brock as an example. They haven't been in camp, and Brody can't legally say anything. So it's like, okay, so everybody's going to jump to the conclusion they must have the virus. But just because you're away for something related to COVID-19 doesn't necessarily mean that Cano or Brock have it. It could mean that they have a family member who has it. It could mean, like in the case of Franmil Reyes, that he was exposed to somebody or multiple people that have it, and they just want to isolate them for a little while to make sure that they don't have any symptoms for a few days. So that's where it becomes really, there's a lot of gray area in this. So with the different teams taking different tacks in all of this, it doesn't surprise me. And MLB, I mean, listen, Major League Baseball, you would like to have a uniform system, uniform rules that are set to help teams out in these situations. But when you look at all of this, I mean, how much have you seen Rob Manfred and Tony Clark be out front talking to the media in all of this and making themselves available? Not very much. So it's frustrating. I think teams are very frustrated with all of this.
So you mentioned Freddie Freeman, and we saw how his teammate Nick Markakis, had a change of heart this week. Do you think not only baseball but sports will have to have a change of heart when one of these cases that we realize, is positive, they go away for 2 weeks? If there's does it get escalated to a hospitalization, then you have to consider reshutting down? Like, how do you think they handle those situations, or do they just hope you isolate them and you keep the games going?
I think they hope to isolate players and keep it going. I think they have. When you look at Major League Baseball with the 60-player pool, I think that kind of builds in that cushion in case there's individual players that get the virus and that they're isolated, and then perhaps they come back. I mean, look at NASCAR. Jimmy Johnson came down with the virus. He missed one race. So, and again, and he came back this week. Now, again, that might not be the case for every player or every athlete going forward. But I think what worries Major League Baseball is just what happened with the Braves, where Freeman tested negative when he got to camp. He tested positive while in camp. So what scared the Braves was that he got it at camp, meaning there's going to be an outbreak. I think that's what concerns Major League Baseball. You look at what's been happening with Major League Soccer. 2 teams had to pull out of the tournament because they had multiple cases, anywhere between 5 and 10 cases per team. I think if it gets to that level, I think that's the baseline. If there are outbreaks within teams that give you a pattern and not just isolated players, I think that's going to be when Major League Baseball really considers shutting all of it down again.
All right, John, we appreciate John Coppinger heard here each and every week with the Capco Major League Baseball Report. Quick break on the other side. The Boston Red Sox legend, El Tiante himself, Luis Tiant, joins us, so keep it tuned right here.
Decolator Cohen and DePrisco, LLP, is pleased to introduce their website, policeofficersrighttosue.com, as an educational and informative site designed to instruct members of the law enforcement community of their civil rights in line-of-duty accidents. Many law enforcement members are not aware of their rights to sue and fail to bring lawsuits within a specific time frame, thereby forfeiting their ability to seek rightful compensation against those parties that cause officers to be injured. PoliceofficersRightToSue.com provides successful past results of line-of-duty lawsuits. These examples range from officers being provided with inadequate equipment, RMP accidents, slip and falls, and station house mishaps. If any law enforcement member has a question regarding a potential lawsuit, they can contact DCD at policeofficersrighttosue.com or at 1-800-901-1LAW. That's policeofficersrighttosue.com or 1-800-901-1LAW.
And welcome back to 540 AM Sports Talk New York. Mark Roseman, Ryan Sherman, Mike Capice with you this Sunday evening. Joining us now is a man whose career spanned 19 years in the majors, compiling a 229-win, 172-loss record with 2,416 strikeouts, a 3.30 ERA, 186 complete games, 49 shutouts in 3,486 and a third innings. He was an all-star for 3 seasons, 20-game winner for 4 seasons. He was the American League ERA leader in 1968 and 1972. He was also the American leader in strikeouts per 9 innings in 1967, the American League leader in shutouts in 1968, 1968, and 1974. It is a pleasure to welcome the man they call El Tiante, the one and only Luis Tiant. Welcome, Luis. How you doing?
Thank you, my friend. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. It's been a long time since we spoke to you, and I've been looking forward to it. You know, for people that don't know your history, baseball was in your bloodlines. Your dad, Luis Tiant Sr., was a great left-handed pitcher in the Negro Leagues, as well as Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and Mexico. He also performed with barnstorming teams. His career extended from 1926 through 1948. In the Negro Leagues, he played for the Havana Red Sox, the Cuban Stars West, and New York Cubans. He finished playing when you were 7 years old. How much of any did you get to see your dad pitch?
Not much. I think the last time I see you, when I was like 7 years old, my uncle, he used to take me to the games, and they take me, one of the pitchers, Adrian Zavala, he used to pitch with my father the same thing. They was good friends. Every time he see me with my uncle, he told my uncle to bring me down to the dugout. That's what I see. But that's the only thing I know. In that time, I don't have any recognition about the game.
Right. So, you start following in your father's footsteps at an early age, joining both the local Little League and juvenile baseball leagues, and you started for the Havana team, picked up for the Cuban Juvenile League All-Star team in 1957. How tough, though, was it being the son? Your dad was a legend there, and now you're playing the same sport as well as the same position. How difficult was that?
It's difficult. I'm never looking that way. I know what I like to do. I like to play. I really don't care about what people are thinking or what people are going to say. I just want to play with my friends. That's what I do. And then I started going to Little League. and then going to the juvenile. And that's the one that really getting more close than me in that particular way, because he don't want me to play baseball, okay, in the beginning. And, when you're a kid, your father used to play, and they tell you don't want you to play, because in 1957, they chose me to go to the juvenile, which in Mexico City. And he don't want me to go. And he said, no, you don't want to go nowhere. You're going to stay here. You're going to go to school. That's what he wanted me to do, going to school.
Wow.
And my mom would tell him, hey, look, this doesn't happen all the time. They chose him to go there. Why not? Let it go. And in the end, my mom going to keep him all the time. And then he decided to let me go.
So your mom convinced him. I love that. That's great.
So my mother get him all over him and time. Why not? Let it play. And then he said, okay, you can go. And then I go. Well, when I come back, I keep pitching. His friends told him, hey, you better go see your kid because he's good. And then one day I remember I was pitching and they call it Route 28. It's a ballpark wide open. And then the bus stop right in the corner. You can see because everything was open. They had a few bleachers and then people standing around. So I was pitching that day. And you look straight to home plate and you can see the bus stopping behind over there in the street. And when I look in the sign, I thought I see he get out of the bus. Hide behind the column, and some store have him in there like a business. He stayed behind me. I saw him going in, and then he not coming. When I was preaching, he was looking at me from over there.
He was hiding, but watching him.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So,
I finished, and I threw a shot at. and then he was walking across the street to where I was. And he coming, he may give me a hug and shaking my hand and say, no, you preach, let's preach. And then from that point, he started to give me some advice, about how to preach and how to do this, how to do that, how to make it the behavior, all the stuff, So from that point, he let me do what I want to do,
And at that point, your talent is recognized by former Cleveland Indians All-Star Bobby Avila, who was scouting in Cuba. He recommended you for the Mexico City Tigers of the Mexican League. At what point did you feel that playing in the major leagues was a realistic goal at this point?
Well, that when you're a kid, you got a dream. Everybody has a dream. Every kid has a dream to do something someday in life, and that means they're not going to happen. Sometimes they don't happen to everybody, and I just keeping that in my mind, what I want to do. I want to go and see what I can accomplish, and that's what I do. I go to Mexico. I even was 17 years because my father had to sign for me. And I go over there, Mexico, the good thing, they speak Spanish, but in Mexico, the Spanish, it's saying like Cuba. We have a lot of words we're not using in Cuba, they're using in Mexico. We're using in Cuba, they're not using in Mexico. But then, you're lucky you have to learn it.
Oh, right.
And all the language, because change, they call them change different, and we call them in Cuba. And when you go there, even 17 years English, it was 17. Because I left in February, and my birthday was in November 22.
Right, so you're only...
And then, you go in there, and you are again in the war. You don't know nobody. You're in a different country. You even know your place. Because I just come there. I don't know any of the place. You have to start getting relationship with the guys. And then, but that I have in my mind all my life. So I was a leader. I know was a follower. But, I want to do what I want to do. And I know what I want to do. I want to get to the big league someday. And then preaching a little Mickey, little Mini Munoz. Those are my two favorites.
Wow.
That's what I want to do. And I said, here now, I have to do what I have to do. I'm coming to play baseball. I'm trying to see if I can make it someday to baseball. I could play. And I feel that year, and then I come back to Cuba. So I go play winter ball. I go play winter ball in Nicaragua. And then after finish in Nicaragua, I come back to Cuba. And then after that, when the season started in Mexico, I fly back to Mexico and I play. And then that year, in 1960, I won the champion pitcher. I win 18 games, and we win the championship. Then from that point on, I come back. I come back to Cuba, and then we play the last year. We play professional baseball, 60-61.
Right.
And I played for the Havana team. I was the rookie of the year. I won 10-8. I was too good. And then I get out, but that time was after we finished when they picked the attack in Cuba. And then they canceled only flights for 1 month. And nobody can leave Cuba. And then the season already started. And I'm missing like a month of the season. Then the first flight, they open it. I'm getting in the plane. And I go to Mexico. And then they have a 1 more flight. And then they let nobody out. Come out from Cuba.
Cuba. So you mentioned all those things, and the different languages, even when you played in Venezuela. Now you come stateside here, summer of '61, with the Cleveland Indians, $35,000. However, that decision is now, with the rise of Fidel Castro of the Bay of Pigs, that's it. You're not going to see your parents for 14 years. People don't realize how much you had to overcome. Not only just talent, but just the language barriers, and also, in different places where you played in the Carolina League in the early '60s, it's not the easiest place for you to play either. How did you deal with all that adversity? Because you're really still just a kid at that point as well.
You say, like I said before, that made me strong, and I want to be a leader. I don't want to be a follower nobody. I know what is good and what is bad, and I know what I want to do. I don't care about somebody else, what the other people do. Like I say, I see people, guys, I don't like it. I don't go along with them. I do my thing. I don't want to get in trouble. I never want to put in my family name. And they say, I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm coming here to play baseball. I don't know what I take it, but I want to get to a big league. It's not one easy task for me. It's easy task for nobody. Because you come in here, you don't speak English. The people that play in Charlottesville, Virginia, was here in 62, then 63. I play in Charlotte and Burlington, North Carolina. And the people was bad. The people calling us, man, the old friend, every day telling you everything. And, I used to go to my room and I can't cry in the night, Every night for about a month, I cried every day. Because you've been treated like even a dog. They're treating the dog better than you. You can't go nowhere. You go in the room and the American player, the white player, I have to bring them the food to the bus. You can't stay in the same hotel they stay. You have to go to the black section. They rent a room, people renting a rooms and stuff, and you have to go over there and stay in those places. And then the white stay in the nice hotel, but we have to go over there. And like I said, why it's easy task. And people, sometimes I know some people used to tell me, you're lucky you play baseball, lucky. And I'm not lucky. I have to do what I have to do. And I never stop. thinking and trying to accomplish what I want to accomplish. I don't care what people think. I'm telling you, in North Carolina, they talk, every day, like calling her and doing stuff to us. Then, like I said, I cry for about more. And then one day I said, you know what? No maintain to cry for anything, If they're going to keep calling your name, it's okay, you're going through the year, and see, I can have a good year. And then what happened was, after I told my money, about 2 days after, I pitched him again. And I threw him in again. You see, and then after that, I pitched him again after 4 days after, and I threw him in again for 8 2/3. And Joe Morgan, he did a group over first base with 2 out. And then that's how I broke my second and and after that, I kept putting everybody in my package. Nobody called me no more name, nobody said anything to me. And every time I pitch it, people coming to see me pitch.
Right.
And then things change a little bit in that particular way, but still, the other things, we got there in San Jose, we stopping in the road, and we can get in the restaurant, And I hired my friend, still my friend, I like my brother. I had bad relationship, He's the one, he protect us.
Right.
And he told the other guy, hey, don't mess with this guy, don't mess with him, leave him alone, because you got a problem with them, you're going to have a problem with me. Leave him alone, I don't want nobody get back or anything, I want to get treated like a human being, not like an animal.
Right.
And, nobody messing with us. And that's why we're still friends. He come into my house and me, and they stay here with me. I show him in Florida because we keep in the friendship. And that's the thing. I say, no matter where you go, no matter where you are, somebody gonna respect you for how you coming by the business, what you do, how you approach your things in life. You respect, nobody, and that's what I just want to do one thing, get to the big league someday, and like I said, I come into the United States to play baseball. I'm not coming here to be involved in drug or beat some people, be woman, do things. I never do anything. I even be in the police station in my life, and that's what the things I want to do. That's what the saying. I think they have me that. Then I remember the guys that told me to speak English in America. and I said, look, let me tell you one thing, okay? That time I speak a little better than learning, on TV. That's how I learn English on TV. And when I do the one word, I understand. I know what you're talking about. You see, I know how to do that. And I learn it. Every day I'm learning. And I tell them those guys when they say, you're in the United States, speak English. I said, look, let me tell you one thing. If you're coming a professor or you Harvard University teaching English, I not do my job in the man, you guys gonna kick my butt out of here. This is different me. I have to do my job first, and then the English gonna come in after that. I know I need to learn English. So you have to communicate with the coach, you have to communicate with the manager. And I remember the manager used to come into the man, I start talking to me. I only thing I do shaking my head. He might call me dirty word, dirty say, I don't know, I don't care. And then the catcher, you want to come into the mouth, I just flipping my hand, no, come back, I don't want to talk to you. Let me do my thing, that's what I want to do, I want to pitch. That's why, like I said,
it's interesting that you mentioned
being a leader, happy life, anybody's life, if you want it. Because you know what is bad, you know what is good, and you know what you have to do. And that's what I do. I don't care what anybody else do. I know what I want to do, and I know what I need to do to get someday to the big league. And that's what I did all my life, you know. And, but no one's easy tough for me. And I don't think it was easy tough for anyone to play in those years, you know, because it really was bad for us. And then look, it really was bad. I had told a lot of my friends, white friends, I had a lot of guys, like my brother just like here, my best friend here died last year, okay, and he's white. And I used to tell him things, and he took me here. You can't believe it. No way. I said, I tell you what, you know what you have to do? Just go somewhere and paint yourself black, and you see the difference how people want to treat you.
You know, it's crazy that you're talking 1963 and we have the same problems today. It's absolutely insane. It's crazy. But you did mention something, and I want to ask you this, because Wilmer Flores had mentioned when he came here, the way he, I think it was him. It might have been, there was one player that learned English. It might have been one of the Russian hockey players by watching Friends, the television program Friends. Was there one in particular show that you watched when you got here that helped you learn the language?
What do you mean, the player?
The TV. Was there
the TV. That's why I learned it. TV, watching TV. The cartoon. I used to like the cartoons.
Gotcha. All right.
Bob Bunny and all of that. I used to watch them all the time, you know.
Gotcha.
That's how I learned it.
You mentioned how important it was to have someone stick up for you. Was that a teammate? Who was that was sticking up for you? And did you have a lot of warmth from your teammates at that time?
No, Barry Levinson. That's the name. It's a Jewish kid from New York. He grew up in Brooklyn. And, he was tough. He was about 5'9", 5'10". He's a tough kid. He wasn't those guys. You know, amazing this guy. Leave him alone. Because you don't play with that, you're going to have problems, you know. And then you keeping the guys away. But you know what? Most of the guys I play, even in the minor, they never give me any trouble. They never give me any headache. They never tell me any racist word or anything like that, you know. I mean, I just play. And that's it, but we're looking at the time coming, that's what we play. You know, when we get out of the bench, when we get in the bench, they throw rocks at us. And you know what, he's tough. You know what, when you can go someplace and you know, you can eat. Because you can't, they don't let you in there because you're black. You know, that's hard, you know. And I tell you, it's really hard. It's really hard. It's something you never get from there in your life. And like I said, I never want race in my country. I never want race. You know, we have a racist people in my country like every place out. You know, there's no here. Racists all over the place I've been. The place I've been was in the criminal. No, don't go here, okay? And I never cared for that. Because when I was a kid, I go out with everybody. All my friends, white, black, whatever, even Chinese.
Well, you also have that personality, which is...
And I really never care about it. I mean, I really want to play with the kids. I really want to play with my friends. We have a good time. We play baseball anywhere. Whenever we find a place to play, we play. We get together every day. Then Saturday and Sunday, we don't have no school. We go play. You know, and that's the way we do. That's the way I grew up.
Right.
You know, I never look at anybody, white, black or white. I don't care. You know. We go to people's house, they got parties and Christmas. You go over in the town where you live, you go every house almost, and go and they eat, they do, you know, sometimes they do you maybe a drink, you want to have a drink, you know, Coca-Cola, whatever you want to have. You know, everybody be like a family, you know, nothing. So you can come in here because you're black, you know. Nobody telling me, I can take one time. Okay, we had a club. We opened a club 2 blocks from my house. And the president of the club, okay, he grew with my father, all my family. Okay, they go together because all around there, everyone's no poor, no people poor, no have anything, but they got a job. They're living like a medium class of people, and it was the person with the club. It's like they have a house. I think they rent a house. They're making a club. They got a good table. They have they have a party every Saturday, Friday and Saturday. They have a party. I think they have a good table. And we used to go in there, and then a lady coming in. A bunch of my friends. We used to go, but black or white. You know, we go in there.
Right, and that's your personality, and that's what made you so endearing to all the fans over the years. And you look at your minor league career before you got called up, 15-1 record at AAA Portland, great teammates there, Tommy Agee, Chico Simone, Duke Sims, and great pitching staff.
Yep.
You get called up by the Cleveland Indians, and you make your first start against the Yankees. Tell us about that first start and what that meant to you. That was your dream. You left there, you left your country, you were all alone, you talked about those days crying. What did that first major league start mean to you?
Well, it was my beginning or what I do all of here, the 19 years I pitched in the league, it was the opener for me, my opportunity in life, because when you lose, it got a little different because you don't know so you're going to send you back down. See, I thank God, I win, and I'm making everything change for me. Right there, everything changed. I was on the moon. All the dreams, all the things, you accomplishment you make, and God, you shut up. The Yankee, it was the best thing in those years.
Against
it was the best pitcher the Yankee had. I go over there, and even some of the players, Alex Smith, he used to play with my father in the Negro League. Okay, he was mad when he found out I was going to pitch him against the Yankees. He told me, why they put you against the Yankees? Why not put you against Kansas City? Kansas City, and then it was a big team, Why not put you against the big team? I said, look, let me tell you one thing now. I'm coming here to preach. This is my opportunity in life. I'm making great. It's now, I will try again. And I said, I'm losing again the best team. If I win, I beat the best team in baseball right now. I don't have nothing to lose. Everything I have to gain for win, also. And then I go over there the first season, I don't want neighbor, so, I'm coming from Portland. I was 15-1.
Right.
And I want to come into the big league.
Right, and coming from Portland, you also pitched back-to-back a no-hitter and a one-hitter, and then you finish that off with the Yankees. So let me ask you this, though. The first 4 years in the league, you have double-digit wins in all four. 67, you have a 2.74 ERA. All of a sudden, in 1968, you change your motion and your delivery to probably one of the most famous motions, altering it so that you turn away from home plate during your motion, in effect creating a hesitation pitch, twisting your body into unbelievable, something that we all try to emulate. What made you decide to do that?
Let me tell you what. What that year? I just turned my number to hit it. And then I've been doing that before. All the year I played AAA. I turned the number. Yeah, but when I changed my delivery was in 1972 when I'm coming to Boston. Okay, I did it in Boston.
But why did you do it? What made you?
But what the thing was, okay, let me tell you what. They put me, they bury me, okay? They people, when you die, they bury you 6 foot. No, they bury me 10 foot. No 16. But like I said, because I got many strong. I never afraid anybody. I just gonna do what I have to do. And I don't mean a big person that want to fight all the time. I don't want to fight with nobody. I just want to do what I have to do. So I don't take no crap from nobody. I respect, to be respect. If you don't respect me, you're going to hear from me. I don't care who is a manager, president, whatever. I don't care. And that's the way I've been all my life. But, and like I say, in 68, that's what I do. Turn around, but I want to throw them 100 miles per hour. And we got the best pitch in the country right here. Sam Downward, Tiant, Shane Senior, myself, Gary Bell. We have the best four started on the big league, and those years was us. And the hitting don't want to hit against us. So we would throw out. My dad would throw about 105. Hagan had the best guy in baseball, and Sonny Senior, forget it, he was tough too.
Pretty good pitching coach in early win as well. So you mentioned about disrespect, and and I think this is the best way for us to close this interview, because this is back-to-back weeks where our guests have absolute Hall of Fame credentials. Last week we talked to Viking running back Chuck Foreman, who is not in the Hall of Fame and should be. You look at your statistics and you match them up against Jim Bunning and Catfish Hunter, both in the Hall of Fame. You have more wins, lower ERA, more complete games, more shutouts than Jim Bunning. You have more wins, lower ERA, more complete games, more shutouts, and more strikeouts than Catfish Hunter. And you have, I believe, the last time I looked, you have better stats than 16 other pitchers that are in the Hall of Fame. Does that
21?
Was that
21? 21 pitchers in the Hall of Fame. I got better record than only 2 guys win more games than me. One guy better ERA, more complete game, more strikeout. Okay. I guess I don't understand what's going on. And it's sad the way you're working all your life to accomplish something, and the people want to take it away from you. That's wrong. And you say, you're getting closer to getting some number, putting some number, and you say, well, I want to try to go maybe 1 or 2 more years, and maybe have a little bit better number to get my chances to get there. And then when you do that, then they want to put you in there. I don't get it. And then they put them all the sky. I don't say they're not supposed to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care. They should be in the Hall of Fame. But if they're in the Hall of Fame, I should be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, and I'm not just me. Let me tell you, Tony Oliva's supposed to be. Mini Munoz is supposed to be. Jim Cat, Tommy Young, Conception. It's a bunch of them. They should be in the Hall of Fame. And they're taking that away for us. But like I say, one thing I say all my life, my Hall of Fame is my family. Okay, number 1. Second, everybody know you and everybody know baseball. I should be in the Hall of Fame.
No question about it.
And people in baseball know. And to me, the numbers there, you can take it that away from me. I don't care. You might can take it, put me in there, but the numbers is there. And like I said, the things they do sometimes with what he made, the Ron Santo and 3 other guys, they wait till they die to put him on there. That's bad. That's me when you don't have no heart, you don't have no something about human being. But when you do that, and they know Ron Santo had that baby, he lives in Buffalo, and then they put him in it, then they wait till he die. What good is that?
Right.
They give you some more, thinking and cry and saying and your family, for no reason. Why they don't put you in your life and you can have a good time, celebrate with your family, the people, they're happy you to get there, or you carry, happy you to be a better pitch and stuff like that, and you can do that because these guys don't feel like I should be in there, and that's wrong. I gotta say, I told my family, I told my wife, and I tell them again, I tell you, and I tell everybody. I don't have no shit in my mouth. I tell them people the truth. I don't care. But sometimes that's a problem. People don't want to hear the truth. I tell them the truth. And I say, if they put me, and I told my wife and my kid, if they put me after die, don't go any goddamn way. Don't go. Don't go. You don't have to go nowhere. Forget about it. And I don't care. I keep telling them, and I don't care about if they do because of races or whatever, I don't care. I don't even want to talk about them. I get sick and tired. But what I go through in my life, you think I want to talk about races, and I want to listen to somebody talk to me about races. I don't want to hear that. Yeah. I'm going through too many things. I have some bad times in my life just to go through that when I was younger. It hurts because when you get old, you understand things that happen in life and the way it is, and even if it's not the right way, but that's what it is. But what my father go through, are you kidding me? And like I said, now you got your number, you do what you did, and then I want to put you in the Hall of Fame. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either, because sometimes you take a look at the personality, and you were one of those personalities that everyone loved as well. And we're hoping that you do see the day that you're able to celebrate that with your family, and we will certainly make that trip up to Cooperstown. Luis, thanks so much for your time tonight. More importantly, thanks so much for being one of the most enjoyable pitchers to watch during my era. And just so you know, I have you on my PlayStation 4 baseball game. And you actually do that, every single time. It just puts a smile on my face. So thanks so much for your time tonight.
No, thank you guys to give me the opportunity to be in your show. And I want to say thank you to all the fans, and I say take care of everybody and be safe and be safe, because we're in tough time in life right now. Everybody has to take care of itself. We have to get together to do what we have to do and trying to, taking that thing out of this country. We don't need that. I think a lot of people been dying, true, and that's not bad. That's not good for us. And I personally, like me, I'm going to be 80 years old. It's a really dangerous for us. And the thing that we've been doing, the thing that we happen. And that's what I say. Thank you to you to give me this opportunity, and I love everybody, and my people show me love, appreciation. That's more important for me. Anyway. Thank you very much.
You got it. Great advice. The great Luis Tiant, El Tiante. We'll be back with the NHL report right after this.
Since 1952, Solomon's Jewelers has been the name to trust on Long Island for jewelry. Solomon's Jewelers is a 60-year-old family-owned business run by jewelry professionals and Gemological Institute of America graduates. 3 generations of experience let them offer you certified appraisals. They have a highly skilled design, repair, and watchmaker staff on premises for all your restyling needs. Solomon Jewelers offers a wide variety of magnificent designer couture jewelry, name brand watches, and certified diamonds. Solomon Jewelers pride themselves on having the best customer service and support in the jewelry industry. They're there with 60 years of experience behind them to help educate and guide you through every step of your jewelry purchase. Solomon Jewelers has 2 convenient locations to serve Long Island's jewelry needs. 74 Minetta Hill Plaza, Plainview, New York, or 1030 Willis Avenue, Albertson, New York. Visit them on the web at www.solomonjewelers.com. Solomon Jewelers, serving Long Island since 1952.
Since 1964, Prince Associates' commitment has been to provide customers with the best insurance value and service available while maintaining the highest ethical standards and credibility with their clients, carriers, and the public. Prince Associates Incorporated is an independent insurance agency with a broad range of commercial, personal, life, and health products. Prince Associates has aligned themselves with some of the finest carriers to deliver these products to you. So whether you're a business or an individual, Prince Associates can help. Please visit them on the web at princeins.com for an online quote, or call them at 516-822-6550. Tell them Mark and AJ sent you. Prince Associates, meeting your every insurance need since 1964.
And welcome back to 540 AM Sports Talk New York. Mark Roseman, Ryan Sherman, Mike Capice with you this Sunday evening. If you just tuned in, you missed a great half hour with a great baseball great, should be in the Hall of Fame, Luis Tiant, El Tiante. But right now, it's time for NHL report with Russ Cohn, sponsored by our friends over at Soho Table Hockey. What's table hockey, you say? Some of us might have grown up with rod hockey or bubble hockey or even air hockey tables. Soho Table Hockey has embraced the nostalgia of those old tabletop games and designed a whole new board for the future, handcrafted with designer wood, state-of-the-art playing surface, unbendable rods, and energy-absorbing walls. This is a table hockey game that players age 8 to 80 can enjoy. Even better, the exceptional quality and design allows the game to stand up to the intensity of tournaments, which is why Soho Table Hockey is the #1 choice of championship players throughout North America. Visit SohoTableHockey.com to learn more and start your order on a custom game. You can choose your word, a centralized logo, and even the team's matchups. Go ahead, drop the puck. You'll love Soho Table Hockey so much you won't be able to stop playing. And luckily, the NHL is going to start playing pretty soon. So, Russ, you pretty dead on with this all along. You know, you knew what was going on. A couple of the articles you've written all along. I have to ask you this. You know, it seems that the NHL, and granted, a lot still needs to be seen how it's all going to be worked out, but it seems that they have been the clearest and most concise when it comes to communicating what they're trying to do, how they're trying to do it. Gary Bettman went so far, and you had this in your article, about the testing. He said no players' names will be made public at all.
Right.
They said that they're getting the testing from commercial sources, and they're paying for them. They're not taking away from people who need them. And they were very diligent about these hub cities as well. So they've done everything right. That being said, even doing everything right, this could just all blow up, very quickly. As one or two players start testing positive, it's just, realistically, do you think we're going to get through all of this and we're going to have a Stanley Cup final?
I mean, I think there's a 75% chance. So I think we will. I think both sides, Fear and Bettman know that there's a chance it won't, but they also completed a CBA, which no other entity that I know of has been able to do in a pandemic, even like a teachers union or anything. So that's an incredible feat just from that. So if nothing else, if you're a fan, hey, I don't have to worry about anything. Where like you're a baseball fan, after next year, you're like, oh, there's probably a strike coming. So that's a positive. I do think there will be positive tests, but a couple positive tests are not going to end anything because they already have it figured out in the hotel how they're going to quarantine. And, you may not see a player again because if, the team gets eliminated in the round, they may not play anymore. But, 3 or 4 or 5 positive tests are not going to end this. It would have to be like a team getting wiped out. And I think if they do this right, it won't. But again, it's mostly up to the players. The only thing these guys can do is set the guidelines, keep it as safe as they can be. But, if a couple of guys were to venture out of the bubble one night, and even if they got fined or whatever, that could ruin it.
Okay. Now, we have a coaching change here in the tri-state area, New Jersey Devils, named Lindy Ruff, their head coach. What do you think about that hiring, and how will that affect the New York Rangers?
Well, I think it affects the Rangers because I think their defense just got better. I don't think Lindy's done much in the last 2 years. I sat down on Sirius XM with Larry Brooks live at the Winter Classic, and that was a couple of years ago at Citi Field, and I asked Larry point blank, what does Lindy do? And he said, honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, the power play didn't improve either.
No, so I just think Josh Harris, while he's going through bidding for the Mets and everything else, just got a guy that he knows he doesn't have to worry about the team now as far as it being volatile or anything else. Unfortunately, though, he's going to just not have to worry about if it's going to win either because I think hockey has passed Lindy by. I think he's like John Muckler when he came to the Rangers, to be honest.
So who's going to handle the defense for the Rangers now?
They said Gord, I forget his last name now, but he was with the Flyers too just a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And Gord Murphy. And so he's going to be up there, but I don't even think he's going to have that much to do with it because David Oliver and some of the other guys they have there have a lot of experience.
For sure.
So I just think it's, he'll be up there and maybe they'll task him with something light, but I don't think he's going to have a big factor. I don't think it'll be a big factor.
Okay, so, we have 3 minutes left, and this obviously is the big question here in New York. You got 2 teams, 4 goalies, well, actually 5 if you throw Georgie in the mix. But Islanders have Varlamov and Grice, all right, and Rangers obviously have Henrik and Igor and Georgie. First round of the playoffs play in. Where you going with those two teams? Who you tabbing as your number ones?
Well, Varlamov is a slam dunk. I think he gets it no matter what. I think if it were me, I know I would go with Lundqvist based on history, but I just feel like David Quinn's not going to do that. I just feel like David Quinn has his mind made up sort of what he thinks Henrik Lundqvist is, and I don't think he'll do that. Now, if Shesterkin falters, of course he's going to put Lundqvist in, but how long will he wait? Like if they faltered for 2 games, then I think he would throw Lundqvist in and hope for the best. But I don't think Lundqvist will start. I don't think Georgiev will get any action at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm be surprised if he even dresses for any of the games. Fourth line guys, there's going to be an abundance of guys called up from Hartford and Bridgeport for both teams. Do you see any of them making a possible impact in these play-in rounds?
I mean, I know Stephen Fogarty has been a guy. If they decide they want to play a little bit grinded out, maybe somebody like that does. But yeah, with most of the teams, you know how these coaches are, especially in the short series, they're mainly going to go with veterans. I just think unless there's no Chris Kreider's to bring up here and just plug in and get magic in the metro area.
All right, Russ, we appreciate it. We'll be speaking soon about actual games, which is just so hard to believe after such a long period off. And I feel for some of these coaches that are have to gear this up and get ready for the most important games of their season right off the bat. It's
it's going to be intense. They said it'll be like a World Cup atmosphere right out of the gate, just very intense. We'll see.
Awesome. All right, Russ Cohen here each and every week with the NHL Report. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, the man who made the catch, Endy Chavez, joins us, so keep it tuned right here.
The views, opinions, and statements expressed in the preceding program reflect the views of program contributors and do not necessarily reflect the views of WBWD Radio, its management, or its sponsors. For questions and comments, please send us an email at contact@bali540am.com or visit us at bali540am.com.
Hello, this is Bob Garrett, CEO of Hackensack Meridian Health. Through its devastating spread, COVID-19 has touched all of us, leaving an impact on every facet of our lives. I'm so proud of the way Hackensack Meridian Health has mobilized to fight this outbreak. Our team members on the front lines fight tenaciously every day for the health of our patients and community. For us, this fight is personal. We are not only treating your families, but our own families as well. And while many things about COVID-19 remain uncertain, I am certain that together we will win this battle. If you can, please help our patients, our healthcare heroes, and our researchers by making a donation to our COVID-19 response fund. You can learn more at hackensackmeridianhealth.org/COVID-19. Sponsored by the Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation and aired by the New Jersey Broadcasters Association and this station.
Is a friend or loved one's gambling problem affecting your life emotionally, spiritually, or financially? Do you yourself take a toll on the people around you due to a gambling issue? Have the conversation. Visit 800gambler.org for access to a new video on the family, various programs, services, and resources for disordered gamblers, their friends, and or loved ones. At 800-GAMBLER, we offer support, treatment, and hope. We're just a phone call or click away. This message sponsored by the Council on Compulsive Gambling in New Jersey, the New Jersey Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Cap off a weekend of watching sports by talking about it with Mark Rosenman and AJ Carter on Sports Talk New York. All the intelligent conversation, insightful interviews, and reporters covering every story is right here on 540 AM from 7 to 8:30 Sunday nights. Check out sportstalknylive.com for previews of upcoming guests and visit their Facebook page for a chance to win prizes. Sports Talk New York, Sunday nights from 7 to 8:30 on 540 AM.
Morris County needs everyone, and especially our Spanish-speaking community, to fill out the 2020 census. It's safe, it's easy, and it's really important. If we are not fully counted, communities in Morris County from all nationalities, races, and ethnic groups will lose federal aid. Less money for housing and child care programs, less for schools and student lunches, less for senior citizens, less for community health care. Competition for federal dollars is fierce. So if you live in Morris County, please fill out your census, online or on paper. No one will ask about citizenship, social security, bank accounts, or personal info. Help Morris County count in 2020. Do it now. Visit NJ Census 2020. This message sponsored by the County of Morris, the New Jersey Department of State Complete Count Commission, and aired in cooperation with the New Jersey Broadcasters Association and this station.
In the wake of the coronavirus, many schools and colleges are utilizing distance learning. While distance learning may be the best way to keep students and school staff safe, students and educators alike will surely miss the personal interactions and social opportunities that take place in regular school settings. Here are some ways to make the most of distance learning. First of all, stay on a schedule. It's easy to put things off when you work from home. Get up, get dressed, and keep regular lunch breaks. Make time for online social interactions. Students can create study groups that can meet online to review lessons and ask questions. Get up and move. Take a break every hour to take a walk around the house. Drink some water and wash your hands. Stay alert and practice healthy habits. Eat dinner as a family. Talk about what you learned each day. Keep a regular sleep schedule. It's easy to get off track and stay up late watching television or playing video games when you don't have to leave the house. Remember, it's still a school day. This message is sponsored by the New Jersey Education Association, the New Jersey Broadcasters Association, and this station.
You're listening to WBWD 540 AM, Islip, New York, a part of Universal Stations, LLC. The views, opinions, and statements expressed in the following program reflect the views of program contributors and do not necessarily reflect the views of WBWD Radio, its management, or its sponsors. For questions and comments, please send us an email at contact@bali540am.com or visit us at bali540am.com.
Hi, I'm Howie Rose, and you're listening to Mark and AJ on 540 Sports Talk New York.
The third baseman, number 11, Mark Rosenman.
And welcome back to 540 AM Sports Talk New York. Mark Roseman, Ryan Sherman, Mike Capice with you this Sunday evening. Joining us now is a man who played for the Kansas City Royals, Montreal Expos, Washington Nationals, Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets, Seattle Mariners, Texas Rangers, and Baltimore Orioles. April 29th, 1996, he was signed by the New York Mets as an amateur free agent. He would go on to play over 1,000 games in the majors, most of those games right here with the New York Mets. His signature moment came at Chase Stadium, Game 7 of the 2006 National League Championship Series. Top of the sixth inning with the game tied 1-1, Cardinals third baseman Scott Rowland hit a pitch off Mets starter Oliver Perez. Leaping over the 8-foot-high left field wall, he caught the ball with the tip of his glove and to rob Rowland of a 2-run home run. He then threw to cutoff man, second baseman Jose Valentin, who threw to Carlos Delgado at first base to double off Cardinal center fielder Jim Edmonds for an inning-ending double play. It is a pleasure to welcome the man who made the catch, Endy Chavez, to Sports Talk New York. Welcome, Endy. How you doing?
Hi, thank you. I'm good, thank you. About you?
I'm doing good. And we're talking baseball, so it's always good. So take us back when you're 18 years old. You're drawing the attention from the Colorado Rockies scouts. You're ready to report to the team's baseball academy when two scouts from the Mets, Gregorio Machado of Venezuela and Junior Roman from Puerto Rico, approach you.
Wow, yeah. That was something that I wasn't expecting because Colorado Rockies was interesting on me, but baseball was finished in that time. So they say, oh, just keep working, and we want to see you next year. So I just, okay, nothing I can do. And then Ron Machado and Junior Roman, they came to me like a week before when I had to go back to the academy. And they say, don't go there, we want to sign you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, for sure, because I got to, be there. And like, no. We're going to, negotiate with you and keep it with the Mets. And I'm like, okay. So I won't go.
So Omar Minaya was with the Mets front office back then. How instrumental was Omar in getting you to sign with the Mets as well?
Well, he treated me pretty good. I met him in, I think it was the Caribbean series when I was in the minor league system. And, he spoke to me and he welcomed me to the team and stuff like that. And, I was like, wow, he's been, around the organization. And I'm like, very happy to meet him. And after that, I think he got the job for Expos. And when I was myself in, how do you call that list?
Unprotected.
Yeah, unprotected. So he picked me up from that list and keep me on the roster. So I'm like, I played 3 years with the Expos. He was the GM there. And then I had the opportunity to play for him again with the Mets later on.
So when you signed with the Mets, you make your climb through the Mets minor league systems. Mickey Brantley, Doug Flynn were your first managers, as well as Ken Berry, Tim Foley, Howie Freeland, Dave Engel. Was there any one manager during that climb that was more instrumental than the others in making you the ball player that you became?
Well, I think Mickey Brantley, when I was in the rookie ball, he was pretty good because, he teach me a lot of stuff, how to handle professional baseball. And he's a very good hitting instructor. So I think I learned a lot from him, and especially when the problem was the language, because I didn't understand nothing at all in English. So he found a way to let me know what I need to know. So that was good. I didn't have that opportunity to have like a lot of Latin coach that they can translate and all that kind of stuff. And I just next to one player that know the English very well, and I'm like, hey, what he said. So that thing I can understand what I have to do. But today it's different, way different. Most of the time the coaches can explain now to the Latin players in English and in Spanish. So it's a very, very good advance. So we can, create better players now.
It's so interesting you mentioned that because our first guest was Luis Tiant, and he talked about coming from Cuba as a 17, 18-year-old, not knowing one word of English, and he basically told us that he basically learned the language from watching Bugs Bunny and cartoons, and and he said that he literally would go after practice and after games in his hotel room and cry because he was here by himself. So people don't realize over and above having to have the talent, when you come from a different country not knowing the language, how much more difficult it is to get to the majors. And it's interesting, too, because despite excelling in the Mets system, and you even won a Doubleday Award for excellence in the system, you're left unprotected in the Rule 5 draft in 2000. You're claimed by the Kansas City Royals, all right? You then returned to the Mets, but then traded back to the Royals. You played for the AA Wichita Wranglers, AAA Omaha Royals before making your Major League debut with the Royals, May 29, 2001. What do you remember about that day and that first game and your first taste of Major League Baseball?
Well, there's a lot of things, crossing my mind, especially when I get to the hotel and, I saw the very nice hotel, not like I used to be. And the first thing that I realized when I came to my room, I saw one bed. And I'm like, what? One bed? I'm showing the bed with, one of my roommates. And I'm like, how can I be possible on the majors? I'm like, okay. when I get to the stadium and I ask for my rooming, and they say, "Hey man, we're in the mayor's, we don't use rooming." I'm like, "Really? That room is only for myself?" Nice, So yeah, and the first experience that I had was when I went to the dugout and Rangers was practicing, and I just elevated the eyes to all the the stands. And the whole stadium very high, and like, wow, it can fit a lot of people over here. And then I see to the field, and I can, recognize this Alex Rodriguez, Ivan Rodriguez, Ken Caminiti, Andres Galarraga, Rafael Palmeiro, and I'm like, whoa, all these guys are just watching on TV. So I'm here with them, And then I was playing. That day. I was playing in center field, hitting on the ninth position, and I was so nervous that I remember my first at bat. I was shaking, and I just trying to move, myself so nobody can, tell me, "Hey, he's shaking." So when I was hitting, something come up because we had still situations. Even though Rodriguez throw the guy out in second, I did the freight bunt, and the umpire on third base say I went, and I'm like, what? I pull it back, and I went, and so the hitting coach start arguing, the manager, and it's coming a big fight. I'm like, oh my God, my first at bat. So I don't want to move. I'm like, wow, watching everything. So the hitting coach got thrown out, and I'm like, wow. And Ivan Rodriguez asked me, "Hey, you didn't win, right?" I'm like, "Nope, but I don't want to move. I don't want to get turned out on my first at bat." And I'm like, well, all that thing happened on my first at bat, and then finally I hit the ball in the hole in the third and shortstop hole. And Caminiti just diving forward and throw over his knee and throw me out on the first base.
Wow, that's a great story for the first at bat. So, 29 games with the Royals. You were then claimed and waived by both the Mets and Detroit Tigers before being claimed, like you mentioned, by Omar with the Montreal Expos, where you played in 309 games over 3 years. You also have the unique distinction of recording the final out in Montreal Expos history in their 8-1 loss to the Mets at Shea Stadium. Players who've played in Montreal loved it, and there's been, so many of the fans have lobbied to get Major League Baseball back in Montreal. Did you enjoy playing up there?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, I love that city. That city is very comfortable to play baseball. The only bad thing is, we don't have many fans to go every day to the stadium. But you can have it all there, apartments, restaurants, hotels. Everything was very comfortable to play there.
So you spend some time with the Washington Nationals and the Phillies, and then you become a free agent for the first time in your life. You sign a 1-year contract with the New York Mets in December of 2005. Mets manager Willie Randolph works with you to improve your hitting, which resulted in a 90-point jump in your batting average over the previous season. You hit 306 and 353 at-bats with the Mets as their fourth outfielder, spending a lot of time as a replacement for the injured left fielder Cliff Floyd. Your improved hitting and excellent defensive skills was a huge contribution to the Mets winning the National League East. What were some of the changes that Willie made that led to your success?
Well, I think, Omar Minaya, when he signed me, he just told me, he wanted me to just fill the fly balls. I need to catch the fly balls, and don't worry about hitting, because the lineup that I'm building is pretty good. So we got people that can hit, and I think he told me that just so I don't get pressure, in the offense. That's what he told me. He told me just get the fly balls. That's it. And I remember Willie called me on the office, and he told me, "Hey, Andy, only I'm going to ask you is just bring your energy to my team. That's all I'm going to ask you." And I'm like, "What? He's asking me that? That's all? He don't want me to ball. He don't want me to steal. He don't want me to do something like that." He just told me, bring your energy to my team. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So I think that was the key to be successful in that year, because they don't put me any pressure. They don't, ask me to do something that I'm not used to do. So just go play baseball and do me. And that's what happened.
With that changes that you made, was there a lot of confidence that came? Because the success then stayed. It sustained throughout the rest of your career. It was that 1 year that really then set you up for the rest. So did you gain a lot of confidence that year?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I had a mind to hit 300 that year. And I think that was it. And unfortunately, I was hitting before the pitcher, and that's not very good spot to hit 300, because you're not going to see many pitches hitting in front of the pitcher. And but I realized I had only one pitch to hit and not miss it. So I did pretty good that year, and be a lot of consistently hitting a strike zone, and I did well. And like I said, I was in the competition. I like challenge, and I like to play when the stadium is full. I like a lot of fans. I enjoy a lot when there's more people are there. It's like I got more focus in the game. So I think that was it. And I'm coming from Venezuela, that I used to play for a very famous team over there, Navegantes y Magallanes, and we play through every day. So, and it's a very challenging team. And when I get to the match, it's almost the same. And so I feel like I can handle.
It's interesting you mentioned about your time in Venezuela. You actually played 19 seasons over there. And people here in the States might not realize how popular you were there. And your popularity probably was not a good thing for Venezuela's president, Hugo Chavez. Can you tell our audience about a particular cheer that was popular over there back in the day?
Oh, like right now?
Yeah. Do you remember the chant?
Well, right now the team, is going very crazy, and it's sad because it's getting a lot of messed up, because the players not getting opportunities, to continue to grow up, and it's tough. That's why I think I retire, because I'm like, it's too difficult to make a trip. City by and cities, and it's not easy to get in the world over there. Yeah. I'm like, what? This is going to be my last year, and I'm not going to retire, because I'm keeping myself in shape and playing in independent ball, so I can play there. But I saw that situation over there, and I'm like, I think that's going to be it.
I think the chant there is something that goes like NDC, Hugo, no. I think that's the chant over there. So,
yeah. They have fun with that.
For sure. All right, so we mentioned in the open about your signature moment with the Mets. From the time the ball leaves Ali Perez's hand, that play takes a total of 12 seconds. So for those in the audience that don't really remember the situation, there was one out in the top of the sixth inning. The game was tied 1-1. The Mets had won 97 games in the National League East. They were favored in that series, but Ali Perez was the left-handed starter that day. He was on the mound, and Ali had a 13-3 record that season, but he was 1-0 in this series after winning Game 4 in St. Louis. The reason why he's on the mound at that point in the rotation was only because El Duque Orlando Hernandez had torn his right calf muscle, and Pedro Martinez had torn his rotator cuff. Both were done for the season. So walk us through that amazing 12 seconds and what you remember about it.
Well, everything happened so fast. I think it was less than 12 seconds. But, when Edmund wasn't first and he got the walk, and Scott Rowling was coming behind, and I used to, we had like a scout report chat that we already know where put my position to to play him. And in that case, I'm like, you know what? This guy, he's strong. And we already know they pitching in. So I'm like, you know, I'm not going to get, you know, 3 steps back. So to hit the ball in the gap, I'm not going to, you know, go for and trying to get Edmo at home plate so we can continue to have the game tied. If he's on the line, same way. And that's why I didn't play in the same spot that I normally play him. So I just feel it. And I just went by like 4 steps. And I think that was it, because that gave me the chance to get to the wall and make the jump and make the catch. And honestly, I didn't thought I'm not going to make it because I saw the ball so high and I'm not a basketball player. I used to play, but I don't have that high. And, you know, for my surprise, I felt when the ball hit the glove and I'm like, oh, it's in. So I didn't have that strength to, you know, tie them up in my glove. And I thought, you know, when I pull it in, I throw it in the air. So I was looking for the ball, and I didn't see it. So when I saw my glove, it was right on top of my glove. And I'm like, oh, it's here. So my reaction was to look for Edmund and see where he was. And I saw him stopping like right on between shortstop. And I'm like, okay, you better get back quick because I'm going to first. And I saw Reyes, and, you know, calling for the ball. And I'm like, Reyes, I got you on, and you too close to me. So I threw the ball to Valentin because I like the infield that made the short throw, and I made the long throw. So that's what happened, and Valentin made an easy throw to first, and we double up.
Yeah, the expression on both Ali Perez and Carlos Delgado when, you know, Delgado gets it at first are priceless. But what makes that catch even more amazing is you have that catch on your resume, all right? And that makes the decision in the 2011 World Series Game 6 the biggest head scratcher in I can't even fathom this. All right, so you go back, the Texas Rangers, and you guys are up 3-2 over that same St. Louis Cardinals team. Your guys are up by 2 runs. You come up in the top of the 9th inning to pinch hit. You pop out the final out, and I have to assume that you automatically thought you're going back into the outfield as defense in the bottom of the 9th. And I actually went back and looked at this. That season, you had done that 10 times in that season, and you had already done it in Game 2 for Greg Gentry. So I guess the question is, were you surprised that Ron Washington didn't send you out into the field? And then, if you were, what was going through your head when you see David Freese's hit to Nelson Cruz, a play that, and do you think you would have made that play?
No, the thing that people don't know is that when they told me to hit for the pitcher in the 9th inning, they told me I'm not going to stay in the right field for Nelson Cruz. And I'm like, okay, no problem. So I was the last out in that inning, and I just handed my helmet to the coach on first base, and then they started waving from the dugout, waving at me, like, no, come in. And so I'm not going to right field. They say, no, just come in. And I'm like, okay. So I went in, and they changed their mind. And after that, when I saw the ball, when he hit it, I'm like, oh, man. Because I saw Nelson playing too shallow. And in that situation, you're supposed to play no doubles.
No doubles, right?
If it's going to be over your head, it better be a homer. So when I saw that ball, I automatically doubt if he can get that ball. So, you know, that was surprised me, like, wow. Well, you know, things happen. I don't know why they changed their mind, because they've been using me that way.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's baseball.
Yeah. It's a shame, because I have a feeling that would have been the Texas Rangers World Series to win at that point for sure. So you retired after 21 years in professional baseball. You transitioned to coaching. Last year as a coach for the Brooklyn Cyclones. Do Do you have in your mind, down the road, maybe a managerial, position in Major League Baseball? Is that a goal of yours?
Well, like I said, I never closed that door. I want to learn how to be a coach, how to handle players, and in the future, if I had the opportunity, I'm not gonna take it because I think I like it. I like to be making those kind of decisions in the game. I understand the game a lot, and I just want to learn the outside part, the outside part of being a manager.
Awesome. Andy, thanks so much for your time tonight, as well as giving your all for over 300 games in a Met uniform, and of course from one of the most memorable catches in Met history. It would have been probably the most memorable catch had the Mets won that game, but it still is an iconic catch, and it's just great to watch it over and over again. Thanks so much, Andy. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for the opportunity. Well, I hope the people enjoy this conversation, and we got something positive about it.
Absolutely. All right, Andy. See you soon. All
right, thanks.
You got it. The great Endy Chavez. We'll take a quick break. On the other side, we'll wrap up with the NFL report.
The Phoenix Tube Company Incorporated is among the country's leading manufacturers of structural ornamental stainless steel tubing, rectangles, squares, and processed flat bars. The company takes pride in its everyday commitment to quality and customer service. The philosophy of the company has been and continues to be to support the growth of the stainless tube market through distribution and service centers throughout the country. Ornamental and structural stainless steel tubing is used for a wide variety of aesthetic and mechanical products where superior finish and corrosion resistance are required. Some products manufactured include tubing for mirror bracket arms, boat rails and ladders, washroom grab bars, swimming pool rail products, medical equipment, automotive step bars and trimming, as well as structural framing for food processing equipment. For a quote or for more information on how the Phoenix Tube Company can meet your ornamental and structural stainless steel tubing needs, visit them on the web at phoenixtube.com or call them toll-free at 1-800-526-2124.
And welcome back to 540 AM Sports Talk New York. Mark Roseman, Ryan Sherman, Mike Capice with you this Sunday evening. Exciting news, guys. It's time for the Just Escape NFL Report with Jay Retcher. Just Escape, it's back. Looking for something fun to do with your friends and family, being stuck in the house for months? Test your problem-solving skills at Just Escape in Massapequa. Have an experience like no other. 5 fun and challenging rooms, all varying in difficulty and scare factor. Just Escape is perfect for the unique day out for all ages. Great for corporate and fundraising events and birthday parties, too. Don't forget to use the promo code FINALLY for 20% off your next booking. Visit justscapeli.com to see all their new safety protocols they put in place and book your room today. That's justscapeli.com. And I bet you there's a couple of NFL players that would just like to escape their social media platforms. Obviously, an Instagram post Friday, Tampa Bay Buccaneers left tackle Donovan Smith expressed concern over the NFL's return plan. And, of course, we have, what happened in Philadelphia as well with Deshaun Jackson. So walk us through those two instances and what's going on with those.
Well, I know, speaking on behalf of people that live in the Tampa Bay area, Donovan Smith's not the only one that feels like that. I think when you're talking about cutting players' pay 35%, and then, go ahead, go out there. And there's no real kind of bubble set in place like we've seen with the NBA, like we're seeing with the hub cities with hockey, or even what they're doing with the MLS. There's a lot of, he's not the only one. He's not the only player that his voice is concerned. And as far as Deshaun Jackson goes, it's good to see Julian Edelman go out there and say, hey, this should be about communication. It should be about education. And we'll see that whole thing play out, but not surprised that Philadelphia has kind of taken the forefront and, disciplined Deshaun because of his comments, because it was really kind of real tone deaf based on what's going on in the world, not just today, but what has ever gone on in the world. I mean, just those comments there's no place for that.
Yeah, and I believe he actually met with a Holocaust survivor this week as well. So he is trying to educate himself. But again, it's, I forgot who it was that told the players, I think it was Brendan Nimmo that told us that I think Curtis Granderson gave him the best information ever. They said, you want to tweet something, email it to yourself. wait a day, read the email the following day. And if it's still that important to you after you read it again, then post it. And I think maybe there's a lesson to be learned there. So, it's social media. Nothing ever good comes from it. So we appreciate it. Jay Retcher with the Just Escape LI. They're back. So please, we've been reading. We've been waiting for it, just like all the sports. This is something else that's open. So go, and see all the safety precautions they put in place and go enjoy it. We'll speak to you next week, Jay.
All right, buddy. Thanks for having me. Take care.
You got it. Jay Retcher here each and every week with the NFL Report. That about wraps it up for us. We'll see everyone next week. Have a great one, everybody.